Hi everybody, I'm Doc Shocker, and welcome to Alan Wake. In our last episode, we met some of the more colorful denizens of Bright Falls, as well as journeyed to the cabin at Cauldron Lake, where basically something happened to Alice, our wife, and
Among Alice's things was a book, The Creator's Dilemma, by a Dr. Emil Hartman. Seeing the book brought back my fight with Alice. I didn't like it, and I didn't like the guy's smug face on the cover either.
but we also learned that part of the reason we came to Bright Falls was that so we could come in contact with that Dr. Emil Hartman.
The gas
Caused us a
station was
fight.
my best bet. They'd have a phone I could use. It looked like a long hike through the forest to get there.
Damn. It looked like a fairly new car, Al. I'm sure he'll be good on it. I'm sure you've got insurance too, so you know, everything should be coming up, Alan.
Hello?
Hello? Is someone there? The loose sheets of paper were pages from a manuscript entitled Departure. That was the name I planned to use for the next novel I had never gotten started. I was named the author. I hadn't written it. I couldn't remember writing it. In the scene on the page, the hero was attacked by an axe murderer in the woods at night. Departure by Alan Wake. The man turned to face me. His face was covered in shadows. It was hard to make him out in the darkness of the forest that surrounded us, but the axe he lifted was plain to see. It glistened with the blood of his victim. He grinned madly. The shadows were alive, distorting his features. It was a scene from a nightmare, but I was awake.
The manuscripts in this game add a very interesting dynamic to everything. You know, it's that way that it kind of says to you, hey, we're gonna do this, and you know, it grants a lot of foreshadowing to what is going to happen in the game, and typically it still does a pretty phenomenal job of still, you know, getting the quick spook out of you.
Anybody there? Please! I've been in an accident!
And it should go without saying, as I have said it with probably every other Let's Play that I've done, I'm not going to try and find every manuscript page or collectible. That is not how I typically play the game. Ultimately,
The lights up ahead were a good sign. Maybe I wouldn't have to hike all the way down to the gas station to find a phone.
I'm playing this game and, you know, ultimately kind of bringing you along on the journey with. At least that's kind of how I see it. That being said, I think I actually something up here. Opposed to going into the lumber camp. We'll have a quick look up here, and if there's nothing, go back. There is a... Odd mouse accelerator. That's all that's back there. Odd mouse accelerator. But I think that's partially to do with this is a console port, so typically you've got like a weird dead zone going on in your mouse tracking to accommodate a joystick. Although it's not as bad in this game as, say, Dead Space 1.
Anybody there? Please, I've been in an accident.
Is sadly not a good PC port.
Hey! Hey, you!
Phil!
There's been an accident. I need help. Listen,
Deposit.
I need to...
Premium cabins for rent in...
Oh, hell.
Carl Stuckey. Pleased to meet you. Non-refundable reservation deposit required. Fair and square. Fair and square.
But actually, despite what you see on a good number of my Let's Plays, I actually favor horror
The
games.
Taken stood before me. It was impossible to focus on it, as if it stood in a blind spot caused by a brain tumor and eye disease. It was bleeding shadows like ink underwater, like a cloud of blood from a shark bite. I was terrified. I squeezed the flashlight like my life depended on it, willing it to stop coming any closer. Suddenly something gave, and the light seemed to shine brighter.
But yeah, as I was saying, I tend to favor horror in most things. It's my preferred genre of movie. Most of my reading that isn't in some manner of comic book form is usually a horror novel. Clive Barker or Stephen King. F. Paul Hamilton. Paul W. Wright.
Lose? Shit. It's the latest thing!
I had to figure a way out of this. Any second now, and Stuckey would be knocking on the door with his axe like Nicholson in The Shining.
During your trying walking, it's the latest thing. Incontestably proven health benefits let you kill two birds with one stone. You can see the sights and keep those cholesterol levels down. Same time.
Yes.
Bright Falls Sheriff Station. How may I...
Hello? Hello?
That was sucky.
This is bad.
Off it goes.
There were more of them.
Yes, there certainly were.
I'd never fired a gun outside a shooting range, and now I just killed someone. Or something. There were no bodies. They just disappeared. If I was dreaming, it felt real enough to make me sick.
Follow yellow paint. Yes.
Eerie hand-painted graffiti was revealed by my flashlight. Someone had hidden a chest of supplies near it.
Okay. Flare gun, good stuff.
The dark forest was the last place I wanted to go, but I had no choice. I had to get to the gas station.
It's rabbit season.
Okay. Probably split up the hill. I know miss a good cache of ammunition, or in this case, a manuscript page. I believe we have a couple of them.
Rose knew she had been gushing, but right now, she didn't care. As far as she was concerned, her brief meeting with Alan Wake was literally the high point of her life. She watched as he got in the car with his wife. She was pretty, confident, at ease with Wake. Not like Rose. They were perfect for each other. She'd have given anything to be called their friend.
But yeah, as I was saying, I'm typically a horror guy.
What the hell was that?
Although I will say that I think the game industry is kind of right now it's getting a little stagnant as far as horror titles are concerned. Everything is, you know, kind of coming out
When
like
I saw the
Amnesia
river below,
or
something uncoiled itself inside my head. I realized that I'd have to find a way across. I didn't even want to look at the water.
you know, they're either coming out a lot like Amnesia or, I hate to say dime a dozen, but they're kind of getting to be that way, Slender games. Which, don't get me wrong, like the first maybe 2 or even 3 Slender clones that I played were actually enjoyable. But it just started getting to a point where you're just being inundated with them, that it stops kind of being enjoyable. It's all, you know, variations on the theme, and very, very few of them actually see anything really excel. But I think all it takes is, you know, probably the right developer, someone with the right mindset to actually develop something that will be just absolutely bitchin'. You know, a really, really, really good game. But, you know, until that time comes, then I guess I'll just revisit all my old favorites. You know, the Dead Space games, which I think are phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal games.
Stucky was still out there, in the dark, stalking me.
Even Dead Space 3, which I thought got a really bad rap because of the way that they implemented co-op and things like that. And I thought, you know, a lot of those people, they probably hadn't even really played the games. Maybe they had, and I think there was a manuscript page over there that I missed, but I don't think I'm gonna go back for it. Something here though. But in single player terms, Dead Space 3 was an excellent game. I'm sure it's probably gonna have, you know, people who are watching this probably raging a bit. But I mean, it's just my opinion. I don't claim to be anything even vaguely resembling an expert. Just a dude that plays video games. Well, I accepted a long time ago that I have very differing opinions to what the generally accepted norm about video games and such are. A lot of games that see high praise don't do it for me, and I'll be the first person to admit it. I mean, it's not even very often that I'm wowed by really any first-person shooter. I mean, it has to be something pretty different to really, you know, I'm not a big 720 no scope type stuff. Not my gig at all. But like a good third-person shooter, I can get down with that very easily. As far as like first-person shooters go, I could really get down with the BioShock games. Absolutely amazing. I don't know if you really want to call them a shooter or not, but Fallout games, very, very, very impressive. But I mean, they kind of work on a separate dynamic from your Hall of Honors or your Medal of Duties or anything like that.
The staircase was broken. I had to make my way up some other way.
Come on, emergency box. Opened up. Did I get everything? I did not. But my ammo are full. Okay, so we've got logs. Big skitter. Thermos. Oh, yeah. See what we can do. Looks like we've got a Jenny over here. Blindsided, that's no good. Looks like we may have to switch up, burn up our flame, or our flare gun here. There.
There was no power. There was bound to be a generator somewhere at the logging site.
Let's see. Back over here, grab thermosomophone. Vaguely into this direction. surfaces to spawn on up. Oh, cheap. Yeah. Ragdoll USOB.
With all this forestry equipment around, there had to be something I could use to reach the top.
Okay, so we've got that switch activated. Let's see what we have waiting for us in here. A shotgun. Hello, beautiful. Manuscript page.
I heard them before I saw them, swooping down from the sky and screeching as they came. I spun around just as the cloud was upon me. For an instant, I stared into 100 dead eyes, black pearls glittering in the darkness. I raised the flashlight and the swarm exploded like fireworks. Feathers burned, turned into ash. I couldn't hear my scream above theirs.
Until we can find some shotgun shells, I think we're just gonna have to sit on that for the time being. Make sure we've got all of our health back. Bust a move on down to switch here. I think that looks pretty good, yeah? Everyone else think so? Good, 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 good. Good, great. We'll say, to my own benefit, I'm truly, truly happy that my voice is yet to give out. I have a chest cold setting in on me right now. And actually my throat is actually feeling better than it was when I was recording Game Dev Tycoon earlier today. Oof, that was misery. Misery upon misery.
Well, I was just outside for a breath of fresh air, and what a night. I know most of you are probably in your beds by now, but if you're still up and around, take a moment. Step outside for a spell and breathe in deep. The weather is absolutely still. The sky is crystal clear. It's like the forest is quietly breathing along with you. As you listeners know, I'm a night owl, and it's on nights like this I wish I wasn't cooped up in the studio. Makes an old man like me wish I could just roam wild. But here I am, and who'd keep you company all night long if I weren't? It looks like I'm not the only one staying up late. Caller, you're on the air.
Hey, Pat, it's Maurice Horton.
Hello, Maurice. What are you up to?
Well, I was just taking Toby on his walkies.
Oh, isn't it beautiful out there?
Sure, but Pat, the reason I called is that Toby heard something rustling in the undergrowth and took off after it, and I couldn't find it.
Probably a rabbit.
Sure, Toby loves rabbits.
Well, sure.
Anyway, I figured that, if anyone runs into Toby, they could grab him. My number's on his collar.
And Toby's a friendly dog?
Toby loves people. Usually he comes back, but we were pretty far from home, and it sounds like he went pretty wild there. Great dog, but he's just too dumb for his own good.
Well, Maurice, it's out there now. Hope Toby comes home soon.
Yeah, thanks, Pat.
You have a good night now.
Okay, well, looking at the timer, I think this will be a good spot to wrap up this episode of Alan Wake. If you've enjoyed the videos, please be sure to press the like button down below, or share with your friends, add to your favorites, or subscribe to the channel. You can leave any comments, questions, or critiques you have for me in the comments section below. And if you're so inclined, I can be found on Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch TV, where I've been known to do the occasional live stream. Thank you for watching. This has been Alan Wake. I'm Doc Shocker. You've been great. Happy gaming.